Hello, and welcome to another edition of Sik'ar Reviews. I'll be reviewing, re-reviewing the Felix Assouline CSB um, uh, Habano 98. I've actually had a very bad couple days health-wise, and in fact, this is the third take of this video. There was the first review, then there was one last night. I actually listened to it. I sounded rather bizarre. That's not going to be making it up. I don't know. It was like I was on something, but I know I wasn't. I have a small mental disorder, which isn't too bad, I guess, but it causes me to be semi-dissociative, and I didn't even realize how I was until I watched the video. I was like, what was I on? Anyways, that video was no good. Thank goodness. He sent me an extra one. I do remember enough from the video I did yesterday that the burn was much, much better. And that was the main reason for a re-review. Flavors of this were fantastic, and it's a shame that I had an issue last night. In fact, it's just been a mess of a weekend. Lots of stress, I guess, going on in my life. So, anyways, nice hay notes. Very barnyardish off the foot. And if you could see the wrapper, this looks almost flawless. In fact, last night's wrapper was beginning to kind of separate just a little bit from the cigar itself, but it wasn't a big deal. This is very tight to it. Nice firm cigar. I see no weak spots. Has a nice draw to it, dry puff. So, gonna go ahead and fire this up. This cigar has just not wanted to work with me. As I said, last night it was me. The first one, it was the cigar. And, well, I'm hoping take 3 is much better. For me and for the cigar. There's a reason why at the end of every episode I ask for people to keep it nice. I have a trigger sensitivity to harshness, I guess one could say. That's why I actually deleted my original channel. I had some real negative people on there, and it was really just upsetting me. And good ease of draw on this. I will say I noticed a couple things last night, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen. But every cigar is like the ring of a tree, and you got the core, and then you got the rings that go to the outer rings. And the newest, like the bark, is the wrapper, and just under the bark is where the binder is. And each one of those layers is kind of rolled together with that central part usually being long-burning, very long-burning tobacco, because you want it to burn longer than the outer tobaccos to keep the outer leaf going. When you got an oily wrapper, it doesn't want to burn as fast. I noticed a couple times it started to burn too fast in the center, which probably led to the original mistakes. Let's see. Good way to put it. Well, when you got the cigar, you want a cone, a TP, so that the hot part's up here and it cooks down to the sides. Essentially like a volcano, basically. But when the volcano is like this, because it's burning too fast in the center, it'll keep burning down until it gets more and more narrow, leaving the outer part untouched. So it becomes more like the crater inside the volcano rather than the volcano itself. And that's actually where I had the problems. This one doesn't seem to be having any right now. Marvelous flavors. It's what I've come to expect from Felix Assouline. His cigars are fantastic in flavor. Light hint of coconut. I didn't pick that up the first time. This is the third take, and on each of the 3 different tries of it, I've picked up different flavors. Always something just kind of a hint here and a hint there, and I love the complexity, the variousness, the fact that each time can be still slightly different. Now, some people like consistency a lot. They really like to have a cigar always taste the same. They know what to expect first third, halfway, third, final third. Some people don't mind if a cigar jumps and jiggles all over the place and becomes inconsistent in flavor, as long as the flavors are good. Me, I'm a flavor person. I love flavors. And I really don't mind as long as the flavors are good, whether they're chaotic or whether they're linear. In fact, sometimes it's the chaotic ones that bring me the most fun because it keeps me interested. Whereas if it's so ho-hum, I just get through it and it's like I don't even enjoy it. So it's like, well, it's the same flavor all the way through. Here's an hour and a half of puffing the same thing. So sometimes I like that change. Well, anyways, I'm going to get to the halfway point of this. See if the construction on this one is just as good as the last one, or if it's about the same as the first one, or somewhere in between, or even better than the last one. So see you shortly, and I'll let you know how this continues. Hello, I decided instead of doing this at first, third, halfway, I was going to update whenever there seems to be an issue. I mean, it makes more sense if I can show what the problem is, right? So if you see, oh, it's not burning there, but that's okay. I mean, that will fix itself. But, you know, on the higher quality cigars, heck, even on dollar sticks, I sometimes see a nearly razor sharp burn. This is just part of that outer wrapper being too oily and not wanting to ignite. So I'm going to continue and see how this goes. And I'll be back. So back again. As you see, it's fixed itself. So far so good. And I'll come back with any other update. Flavors are still incredible. A little bit of pepper. Reminds me a bit of a pasilla pepper. Or as some call it, a poblano pepper. Very nice finish. It is slightly peppery, not spice. See there, my friend even said it today. He says spice and pepper, 2 different things. Make sure to differentiate. Well, I try to say what type of spice. You know, I've done a very good job of that in the past. As I said, this one kind of has a poblano-ish pepper flavor. Not as spicy as a jalapeno. See, that as a pepper nut, that drives me crazy when somebody's like, I don't like spicy food. Some people are actually talking like heavy Italian spice or curry spice, or spice is just a generic term for anything used to make something more flavorful. It's essentially the same word as masala or marsala, depending on whether you're Cajun, Creole, or Indian. Um, there are various different types of spices, masalas, marsalas, etc. It's all a derivative of the same thing. What is used to season or flavor. So when you say it's spicy, is it cinnamon? Is it cardamom? Is it Italian spices, oregano, marjoram? Are you talking pepper spice? Which is what a lot of people say, because you go into the Chinese restaurant and you say, oh, make it spicy. And it's like, well, Chinese spice is typically hot spice, and somehow, somewhere along the line, we've gotten into saying, if you want it pepper hot, you want it spicy. But, hey, growing up, we had, I don't even know where it came from, but my friends used to joke about the spicy meatball. My Italian is horrible. But, anyways, apparently meatballs can be spicy, but they're not a pepper spice. It's an Italian spice. So, rather than say it's spicy, I like to say what type of spice, if I can identify it. And sometimes certain spices, like, saffron, I've never really ingested saffron straight or paprika straight. Something just kind of repulsive about trying them straight, even though I'm a cook. I love cooking. Well, enough of that about this. This is going to end up being a very long video, probably, because of popping in and out, and each time I end up talking or whatever, it's going to take forever. But bear with me. Get to this soon enough. See you. Well, now, the question is it the outer wrapper's not burning anywhere but here? Or is it a canoe? I mean, this isn't bad. Again, I'm going to let it try to fix itself. And we'll see how this plays out. I mean, that's not too bad. Flavors are still very nice. There's a little cinnamon hint here now. I've also noticed that the ash is kind of flowering a little bit. At least that's what I call it. It's like a petal. Only on one section though. It's where that hangnail was that I showed you earlier. Which, by the way, is the same spot this is beginning to tunnel. Or not tunnel, but canoe. To find out if it's tunneling, I'm going to have to knock off the ash. And I'm going to try to keep the ash, because so far it's burning pretty decently. I've seen far worse cigars. People posting pictures online with huge ass runs in them. So decent smoke output still. Anyways, I'm going to continue on. Well, as I said, that would fix itself. And as you can see, it has clearly fixed itself very nicely. This may be the best behaving of the three that I've had. Flavors are still great. Still a little poblano. Still a little cinnamon. And there's almost a kind of sweetness to it, like a honey. But I'd like to say it's more like a sweet red pepper than honey. It doesn't have the pepper flavor. It has kind of the watery sweetness, though, that, some of those sweet peppers have. Very nice flavors. Very nice finish. And look at that ash. It's holding very nicely. That is a strong ash. It's on there. I have a feeling it'll last until beyond the halfway point, which, if you could see, it started about here. Your ash will actually shrink, so it was probably about that long beforehand, and so I'm actually encroaching the halfway point here with very little difficulty. So this is fantastic, very fantastic. So I will see you shortly. Well, welcome back, and as you can see, the ash just fell off, and I actually just hit the halfway point. However, you can see it's beginning to tunnel just a little bit. However, the center is keeping its cone. It's just the outer wrapper isn't burning up to par. And we'll see if that fixes itself or whether I'm going to have to fix it. So far, I have not needed a touch-up, though. But that's not something I like to see when I'm smoking a cigar. Doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. As I said, it'll probably fix itself. However, in the first cigar, this type of thing did not fix itself. But I've made it to the halfway point without needing a touch-up. That is stellar, because yesterday I wasn't able to do that on the one I had yesterday. It had a few little issues, and I needed at least 2 touch-ups before the halfway point. So I'll see if there's any more change or, Oh, as for flavors, a little cocoa and nutmeg right now. Still nice finish, a little honey sweetness as well. Cinnamon's kind of tapered off. Still got a little of that pasilla though, which kind of makes for a spicy cocoa. Very nice, and I will see you shortly. Welcome back. So far no fixes needed. However, it's beginning to burn a little funny yet again. But very pleased to say it has not needed a fix. The draw has gotten a little tight here in the end. It's probably just resins from moist tobaccos basically cooking up. It's not tar or anything. You can really see that when you get something like a Dutch Master, a machine made. You'll sometimes get a little bit of fluid that comes out the back end. It's like pipe tobacco. Pipe tobacco has a tendency to get juicy, and the juices get into the bottom of the pipe. Some people think it's saliva that's drooled in. No, it's actually liquids from the tobacco itself. It has a kind of sticky texture to it. The more dried it is, the less of that you'll get, but it's not guaranteed that you won't get any. And that's why if you've ever had a cigar and you're getting down to the final bit right here and it starts burning funny and it burns down one side and stays up on the other side, or it starts tunneling, canoeing, or just going out on you, it's usually just a buildup of resins in the base of the cigar. And now I'm kind of getting some sourdough-ish flavors. I love how this has changed. The flavors are magnificent. I do think that if I was to change something about the cigar, I'd use a slightly thinner wrapper or binder. I don't know if it's the binder too thick or the wrapper too thick. But that might change the flavor entirely. That's why I'm not a blender. I know why the cigar burns the way it burns, and I can kind of detect certain things about it. But, like, I can tell you right now that this actually is beginning to slow up its heat on the outer wrapper, because if you look carefully, you can see how it's blackened right at the edge. That's actually because it's toasted, but it's not burning. It's kind of like charring. Like, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it's charring. It hasn't burnt, it's charred, which means the flame is underneath the wrapper already. And so it's cooking out and it's heating up the edges, but it's not burning the edges. Again, I'm going to see if this fixes itself, and there's more of that sourdough flavor. Been incredible so far. Flavors are amazing, and I'm glad that I haven't needed any fixes at all. So, I'll keep going. I think this will work its way out. It seems that it already is beginning to. So, in fact, I've noticed that just in the time I've talked to you, you can see that there's part where it's not charred now. So, it's actually beginning to burn proper. It's still charred over there, but it's not there, a little bit there, and then it's not there. So that means that it's fixing itself. It's not just a re-review, but in a way, because this cigar has been problematic for me once in the past, and last night's was much better than the first time. I kind of know what to expect, and I figure I'd also give some instruction while doing this. It makes the video that much more, I think. Anyways, see you if anything changes. So, hello, I've gotten a bit of a flavor profile change. Kind of got a clovish flavor that's lasting on my lips. Not flavor, feeling. Feeling. If you use clove, it numbs your mouth. So, on the lip down here and just up there near the gums, I'm kind of numb. That's cool. Gotten that in quite a few cigars. There's a little bit of a citric flavor that's come in. With some leathery notes. And not much else at this point. As I said, though, it would probably fix itself, as you see. This is from the halfway point. I have not needed a touch-up. The ash is holding strong. So far, only one chunk of ash has fallen off. I found a way to do that while doing a video, so from now on I'll show you how the ash sticks on cigars. This was a trial in some ways, and so I kind of like the way that this video format's working, but I'm afraid that it's going to end up being too long, or longer than I'd like. Nice smoke output still. Even some toasty notes, maybe a little bit of mesquite too. So, I'll come back to you just a second. Hello and welcome to the final third of this. I would have tuned in earlier, but I got a call from my dad, and well, calls from dad take precedence. So, I've noticed that the draw has gotten really bad in the final third. In fact, that's not where I nub it, but with the last two, this is also where it ended up going out on me. And if you see, I just knocked off the ash, so you could see it's actually tunneling just a little bit. This is probably a tunnel that I'd fix or I'd just let go because of how low it is. Not a big deal. One other ash just fell off of this, so while I was on the phone call, and you know, anyways, construction was very good in this. The burn was very good in this. I've never had a fault with the construction of any of these other than the burn on this one particular blend. So my final thoughts on this: 2 out of 3. One was horribly wonky. The second one was wonky, but not too much. This one, well, you've seen what I've seen. I've shown you. 2 light tunnels, but everything fixed itself. So I gotta say that this is definitely a try for flavor, but beware of wonkiness. Keep an eye on this one. It's possible that it's going to end up having problems. 2 out of 3. And this one to some slight extent. So, anyways, with that said, please add and subscribe, leave questions, comments, feedback, suggestions. If you smoke this and you agree or disagree with my review, please go ahead and leave your opinions down below. Just keep it nice is all I ask, and enjoy every puff.